and welcome to another video. Last year I made a video on the day in the life of a consultant. Now since then I've had a promotion and I am now a manager. So I'm remaking this video of the manager edition of Day in the Life. Come with me. As we go through the day, I'll talk a little bit about the differences between my day as a consultant versus now my life as a manager, so that you have a little bit of an idea of how the two things differ. Now the last time I filmed this type of video, I was sitting around in my pyjamas or in my trackies for most of the day. Well, this time I don't do that anymore. I in fact get dressed, and it literally takes me 30 seconds, but I just get dressed, nice pair of jeans. Can you see those jeans? Yes, jeans here. This might be the t-shirt I slept in, I can't comment on that, and just throw a hoodie over the top because it's a little bit chilly today, but I actually find that getting dressed helps me more than I really thought it was. I thought this was a waste of time, but actually finding it's pretty helpful. Okay, time's running on a little bit, so we just need to grab a quick bit of breakfast and get the PC on ready to go. Now I'll do a whole consulting desk setup video, but I recently swapped out my chair from an old IKEA chair to this Herman Miller Aeron, and I've got to say it is so much comfortable. I had my previous chair for I think it was 9 years, and it was sagging in the middle and it was so uncomfortable, so I recently swapped it out for this and I absolutely love it. The last time I filmed one of these videos, I had calls at 7:45 in the morning, and at the time I thought that was okay, but I have come to the realisation that is a completely ridiculous hour to have a call, and I'm now much more strict about my work-life balance. Now normally I have my first call at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it buys me this bit of extra time. I still log off from my personal blogging at 8:30, but I have a bit of extra time. However, we have a big launch coming up in the next 2 weeks, so we have, just for the next 2 weeks, a call at 8:30 every day. I don't think that's that unreasonable, so I guess I'm just going to have to suck it up for the next 2 weeks. You'll see that this has become very much a theme for this video compared to the last time we did a video like this, which is I have a much better grip on my work-life balance, and I have actually set some boundaries. Cue cheering. In this video I'll show you where I've set those boundaries and also how I've been able to do it, because I actually don't believe that my boundaries that I have now are intrinsically related to the fact that I'm a manager, whereas before I was a consultant. And I think that whatever level you are, you can set these boundaries too. Breakfast is nothing more than a simple bit of porridge with a little squirt of, it won't come out the bottle. When this decides to actually make its way down, here we go, with a little squirt of honey, nice and simple, only takes a minute in the microwave, and it's super healthy. So, what's not to love about that?
I grew up in a place where they told you what to chase, told you how to run the race. Every move is on the page.
And that's the first call of the day done. Just grab a quick cup of tea and on to the next one. So the first call was with an MD within our company. Oh, next call started. I'll have to come back to you. So, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by the need to work. First call of the day was with an MD in Accenture. One of the things we do in Accenture is what's known as side of desk. This is when you do something to contribute back to the firm whilst you're already in a chargeable project. It's different at different firms. Some ask you to do side of desk whilst you're in a chargeable project. Some only ask you to do this when you're on the bench. In Accenture, we do it whilst you're in a project. And one of the things I've picked up recently is learning and training across the whole of UKI Technology, working with the MD sponsor for this. So I'm actually creating a kind of learning festival to accelerate people's learning, and that is next week. So we have a quick catch up every morning at the moment, just to get it across the line, the last little bit. So very excited, hope it goes well. It'll probably be the biggest event I've ever put on within Accenture, so excited. There's about 5,000 maybe more people who this will reach, so hope it goes well. One of the things I'm noticing is that as I've got promoted, as I've got more senior, more of my day is spent with people more senior than me. So when I last made this video and I was a consultant, most of my day was spent with other consultants, but now I spend more of my day with kind of senior managers, associate directors and MDs. And the proportion of my day that's spent with people at my level and people below my level, that sounds more arrogant than I actually mean. I simply mean that as a statement of fact, has decreased. And it's interesting because how you interact with people is a bit different, and it keeps you on your toes. So yeah, I enjoy it. The second meeting of the day was my project status update meeting. Now, I have this every morning with my team, and this was a big one because we have a huge launch tomorrow. Now, if some of you have seen this channel before, you know that I specialise in technology consulting, and specifically within the telco space. So you might know that tomorrow, the 9th of February, is the launch of the new Samsung devices. Now, personally, as an Apple fangirl, I don't particularly care about Samsung, but I know that there's some of you who do, and I'm sure you'll all be hating on me in the comments now, but there is a big launch tomorrow. So it's about making sure that we have everything ready for our client for tomorrow, make sure that any last defects are all closed off, that everything is working, and that everything is ready to go. One of the things I really like about working from home is the ability to take some exercise during the day, and it's not raining, so I'm going to go out for a walk. I've got a little half-hour slot between meetings, so I'm just going to quickly jump out for a walk. That's pretty dark, isn't it? Maybe that's a bit better. Maybe. I'm going to quickly jump out for a walk during the day. I try to do a little bit of exercise every day. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I started doing this after monk mode. If you haven't seen that video, have a look in the card things over there somewhere. But I find if I don't do any form of exercise in the morning, then I just am really like jittery and restless, that's the word, restless during the afternoon. So I try to go out and do at least something. Right, gonna put something a little bit more presentable on than this. Let's go. Just come out for a little half-hour walk. I don't know if you can even hear me because it's quite windy enough. Put my AirPods in, but I'd pick up the wind and the traffic noise really, really badly. But it's just nice to be able to have a little change of scenery. And, you know, I used to think that walking was a waste of time. Unless you were going from A to B, why would you want to walk? And the answer is because it's actually quite reflective and meditative. It's like meditating through movement, where running, you know, you're very much focused on your breathing, your technique, it feels like hard work, your elevated heart rate. Whereas with walking, you're just, well, walking. I haven't had time to go all the way up to the park, but that's okay, another day. But I have had time to get out from behind the desk, and I think this is so important. You know, in the previous video, you've seen me just sit at my desk for 12 hours. When I look back at that video, it's actually quite boring, because, I mean, check it out. If you think it's boring, that's fine, drop a comment. Or if you think it's useful, whatever. But it's just me sitting at my desk for 12 hours a day, and I had this realisation over Christmas that there's more to life, oh, leaf in the eye, there's more to life than just sitting at your desk for 12 hours a day, even if you are a consultant, which is known for its terrible work-life balance. Doesn't mean we have to live up to that stereotype, doesn't mean we can't fight it. And now that I'm the manager, I want to set that example, I want to lead by that example. I encourage my team to go out, take a lunch break, have a coffee break. If we finish a call early, like we don't have to fill the time just because it's there, grab coffee, whatever. I think it's so important, and as a consultant I was kind of trying to do these things for myself, but now I'm setting the example, and that almost forces me to do it. And I am benefiting from it, and I think I'm becoming a better leader because of it, because I think when you start to get to manager, you should really be thinking not just about managing, right, and telling people to do stuff. It's really about leadership and leading by example. And it's very loud. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. I'm not saying I do it every day. I'm not saying that sometimes I get it. I'm not saying that I don't sometimes get it wrong. But I am certainly giving it a good go. I think that's really what it's all about. Right. Just finish off this walk. And then back on to the next call. Right, just got back from my walk, so I'm just going to quickly log in, check that there is nothing immediately urgent that I have missed. Nope. Okay, now I'm a little bit funny about clothes. I don't like outside clothes being worn inside the house. I'm just a bit of a clean freak like that. So do a quick getting changed out of this lot into my more comfy inside clothes, and then gonna do a quick 15-minute power session to crack through some of the actions that are kind of looming over me from this morning before my meeting at 12:30. So let's go. Right, it is 10 to 6. Excuse the hair. I had a shower. I can see on the little screen thing there that it's really messy, but I just had a shower, so it looks a bit wet. It's not greasy, promise. It's 10 to 6, and I'm actually meeting some work colleagues for dinner, so I am going to give you a quick roundup of how the afternoon was, and then we are going to get going. So this afternoon I had a couple of meetings with a couple of little slots in between for some extra power half hours, but key meetings this afternoon was the bench call. So I have a group of graduates who spend their first year in the organisation in my company, lucky people, and every week I meet the people who are on the bench to talk about what roles they're applying for, things like that. So if you're not familiar with the concept of the bench, it goes like this. In consulting, there are two states. There is either in project work or there is on the bench. Now, as a consultant, and this is at every level across the organisation, as a consultant, it is your primary job to be staffed in chargeable client work. And that makes sense, right? Because the way that any consulting firm makes money is the client pays the firm and the firm pays us. So every consultant has an obligation to get off the bench as soon as they can. The way to think about the bench is exactly like you would in football. So if you've got people playing on the pitch, but you've got a few people sitting literally on the bench, they're ready to go out and go on and play the game. And it's exactly the same in consulting. So it's a very simple concept. And at every level, you have what's known as chargeability targets. Now, these sound a lot scarier than they actually are. This is where you have a certain percentage of your time that needs to be allocated to chargeable client work in order for you to be considered like a decent consultant. So we have a bench call with the group of graduates that I lead once a week to help them to apply to roles, give them advice, give them support on interviews, writing CVs, because you have to write CVs and apply for these roles just like you'd apply for a job. So it's really there to kind of help people. And I also had a session to prepare the kickoff for phase 3. So if you remember earlier, I spoke about the call off that we were reviewing with the SM. So we got all that agreed. So now we are ready to go and do the actual kickoff of the project with the client. What I find is that as a manager, a lot of my time these days is spent around bringing people to a common vision and putting the infrastructure in there to help everyone succeed. Speaking of opportunities to rise, I need to get up because I am going to go out for dinner with some colleagues and you coming with me. Let's go. So it is 11. I have just got home and I've had the most wonderful evening having dinner with a friend who I actually met through work. So I didn't film much of it because we were so busy having a laugh and just enjoying the fantastic food, which if you're in London, you should definitely check out Dish Room. Not sponsored, but if you'd like to sponsor me, I'd be very up for that. And honestly, it was brilliant. But I just wanted to wrap up this video and think about some of the differences between last time I filmed this type of video and now. And I think the key difference really is about the work-life balance. What I want people to take from this video is two things. Firstly, life doesn't become intrinsically easier as you go up the career levels. I always thought that just, one more promotion, one extra level, and everything will be easier and your work-life balance will be sorted. And that's not true. What I've realised is you have to own it and you have to take control of it. The work as you've become a manager is definitely different to the work that you do as a consultant. You are doing much more of the finances, you're getting much more involved in sales, you're thinking much more about coaching and leading people to do the doing rather than being mired in the detail of the doing in itself. I've always looked up and thought that type of work was easier than the doing work. But I think I've been proved wrong. It does require emotional presence, it requires forward thinking, it requires a good understanding of the strategy and communication to articulate to a team and to rally people to a common vision. Because anybody who thinks that being a manager is about bossing out instructions is a rubbish manager and you should stop working for them as quickly as possible. And I don't want to be like that. So the work doesn't get easier, it just gets different. And I hope that if you were to watch the previous video and you watch this one, then you see some of those differences. The other thing is that I always thought that, just one more promotion, manager and beyond, work-life balance is sorted. Well, I can tell you for a fact that it's not. I do, however, think that as a manager, it's easier to pull certain levers. So for example, you've got a team, you can do effective delegation so that people get step-up opportunities, but you can also take some of the detail off your plate. And I think that really helps. But I think that when you're in this position of leading a team, regardless of whether your job title is manager or not, it is your responsibility to lead by example. And what I realized is that my team were working long hours as well because that is the example I was setting. And I was basically setting the example that having a poor work-life balance is the norm. And over Christmas, what I realised is that I am the problem. And so when you're in a position of having a little bit of influence, it's really about how you use that. So now I use that for good, to show my team that you can have a successful career and a decent work-life balance. I can go to the client and have some of those difficult conversations around, for example, I introduced no client meeting Wednesday, which was actually inspired by Ali Abdal. He and his team, which is obviously really different to a company like Accenture, but he said, his team, he doesn't have meetings on Wednesdays. And I thought, there's something in that. So I'm trying that with our client, but I would never have been able to do that as an analyst to say, we should have no meetings Wednesdays. I don't think I would have been in a position of influence for the client to listen to me or to be able to have that meaningful conversation. Whereas as a manager, it is easier. So I think it's about understanding what levers can you pull at each level to make your life and the lives of those around you much easier. So this has been a little snapshot, a little insight into life as a manager. If you've got any questions, please drop them in the comments. I'm always open to having an open, honest, transparent discussion. So please ask away with any questions. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a like. I've enjoyed making this more relaxed vlog style video. If you prefer it to the more formal learning content that I've been doing recently, please drop a comment, let me know, and be sure to subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next one.